From the United States Student Association, Alexandra Flores-Quilty.
Hello and good evening. Thank you very much. I'm so honored this evening to talk about Marcus Raskin. He and Richard Barnett came out of the Kennedy administration to found the Institute for Policy Studies in 1963. It soon became the hive for a large swarm of radical policy intellectuals. Vietnam soon rose to the top of the agenda. The Vietnam teach-ins sweeping the country needed sources for background analysis, so Marcus Raskin and fellow IPS Bernard Fall wrote the Vietnam Reader. It became the essential text. There are dog-eared copies of it all over America. IPS became a symbol of resistance in Washington, so President Nixon put both Marcus Raskin and Richard Barnett on his enemies list. The FBI infiltrated IPS with 70 informants, wiretapping its phones and sifting through its garbage. On the other hand, the Child Herald restaurant on DuPont Circle named a sandwich after Mark Raskin, so that was nice. And the height of the flattery when the Heritage Foundation was founded in 1973, it explicitly chose IPS as its model. In 1967, Marcus Raskin and Arthur Waskow wrote A Call to Resist Illegitimate Authority, a manifesto against the draft. 28,000 professors and clergy signed it, and it was reproduced everywhere. For this impertinence, a federal grand jury indicted Raskin and 4 others aiding draft resistance. The co-conspirators were Dr. Benjamin Spock, Reverend William Sloan Coffin, Michael Ferber, and Mitchell Goodman. Each faced 5 years in prison, all went free. The document reads in part, and I quote, an ever-growing number of young American men are finding that the American war in Vietnam so outrages their deepest moral and religious sense that they cannot contribute to it in any way. Young men in the armed forces or threatened with the draft face the most excruciating choices. Among those in the armed forces, some are refusing to obey specific illegal and immoral orders. Some are attempting to educate their fellow servicemen on the murderous and barbarous nature of the war. Some are absenting themselves without official leave. Among those in the armed forces, some are applying for status of conscientious objectors to American aggression in Vietnam. Some are refusing to be inducted. We believe that each of these forms of resistance against illegitimate authority is courageous and justified. We will continue to lend our support to those who undertake resistance to this war. We will raise funds to organize draft resistance unions, to supply legal defense and bail, to support families, and otherwise aid resistance to the war in whatever ways may seem appropriate, end quote. He is here with us tonight with his remarkable son, Jamie Raskin, one of the most effective progressive state legislatures in the country, carrying on the legacy. Please join me in thanking Marcus Raskin.